In this chapter, measurement and scaling, participants could able to know the various parameters used in research to quantify the variables for further research tool. There are the four major types of primary scale for measurement. The four scales are divided into the two major categories. Any category? Measurement and scaling. This measurement and scaling, participant would able to know the various parameters used to construct a research instrument. It has been divided into the primary scales of measurement. Primary scales of measurement consist of nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scales and ratios. It is furtherly grouped into two major categories, is a parametric scale and non-parametric scale. The non-parametric scales are nominal scale and ordinal scale, whereas the parametric in nature is intervals and ratios. So the nominal scale, which used to assign the numbers, which used to classify the respondents. For that particular purpose only we are using nominal scale. For example, male and female, urban, rural. Likewise, we are going to make the classification. That the kind of classification is useful only for the classification purpose only. We could not able to do any sort of analysis with this nominal scale. Whereas the second part of ordinal scale is a ranking scale. We could able to say greater than, lesser than the performance. That one thing we could able to do that with the ordinal scale. For example, ranking, giving the preference of the people. So these kind of responses we could able to collect by using the ordinal scale. Whereas the interval scales are widely using rating scales. The performance rating scale, 5-star rating scales, Likert scales are widely used to measure the performance of the particular product or measure the performance of the particular situation that would be able to measure by using the interval scales. Ratios also we are using to compare the relationship between the two variables. For example, of first category of people, the salary of first group of people and third group of people, we could be able to compare by using the ratio scales. And these are the basic characteristics and what are the tools that we are using and what are the concepts that related with the hypothetical examples that we are using in that particular term of the different types of scaling. In common response format, there are a secondary type of scaling we classified into Likert scale, semantic differential scale, behavioral intentional scale, non-comparative scales, comparative scales. The Likert scales is a furthermost we are using this scale, 5-point scale, 7, 9 and 11-point scales are also there. With respect to the intention of the researcher to use get the response from the respondents, for that particular level we are using the Likert scale. Likert scale extent to which they agree or disagree a series of behavioral belief statements about the given objective that we are using. And semantic differential scales are the unique scales, is a bipolar scale format that capture the person's attitude or feeling. For example, that portray it is not like blunderly awarding the points. Irrespective of that, they are going to get the opinion from positive to negative, favorable condition to unfavorable condition. For example, 10 points are to be given. For that, how you are going to award the points between the favorable and favorable. So like that extreme, we are going to measure semantic differential scaling, useful for graphical rating scales. And behavioral intentional scale is a rating scale designed to predict the behavior intended towards purchasing an object or service in a future time frame. The probability of the likeliness can be measured in terms of percentage or proportion. For that, we might use behavioral intentional scales. Other rating scales like graphical rating scale, rank order rating scales based on the preference. 10 items are given, you have to rate the 10 items. Based on that, we have to classify that vital, essential, and desirable based on your requirement. Paired comparison scales, closed-ended objectives are given to measure that which option you are going to select in a different situation, different conditions. Constant sum scale, that given 100 points or 500 points or 1000 points, a fixed points are to be given to the respondents. You have to allocate those points to the different attributes or different features of the particular product. Examining the data examining after collecting the data. So these are the parameters we might consider while designing the research instrument. After that, we might collect the data. After collection of the data, we might examine the data is a verification stage.